like, okay, like 305, 310, nothing, 315, and then like 320. 3 security cops walk in.
No, not just security guards, like actual police officers.
Oh, wow. 3 police officers walk in. I'm like, yo, Mason.
It's
on.
Yeah,
it's on, Mason. Then we go to lunch, and we're all wigging out.
Like, is this actually happening?
I'm like, okay, like, what's the process? If we get him, like, how are we gonna get both views of the camera? We need 2 to 3 cameras because we brought like 3 or 4 cameras with us. We brought 2 or 3 mics with us, and we were just trying to figure out the lighting of that room. Hey, do you remember how the lighting was in the speakers lounge? Where's the best place to set up? How do we make sure the cameras are rolling? How do we make sure that the audio is running? We don't screw it up. And then we just kept wigging each other out a bit.
Yeah, it was just because we all knew this was like, this is it. This is our shot.
This is one shot.
Like,
we got one shot.
We're good to go.
So like, we felt so good. Like, holy shit, we took this shot and it worked. But it's only like the shot's in the air.
The shot's in the air.
3-pointer for the game-winning shot,
and the clock's out. The buzzer's beeping.
The ball's halfway.
Everyone in the stadium's watching this ball.
Halfway there, and we're like, we got to get the ball in the freaking hoop right now.
So we have our game plan, and like you said, be there. All right, 3:30. Well, Gary will be here. We'll interview. So we show up back to the speaker lounge at 3.
Yeah. So we're like, we gotta get there. So like, the longest time was from 1 to 3, just sitting there knowing like. Anyone that was on stage, like, I don't even remember what anyone was saying. I didn't even pay attention to it. I was just trying to. We're trying to analyzing, like, how do we nail the interview, the shots, the recording, the book. How do we not screw it up? And we worked on that, like, talked about it for another 2 hours during the conference, at the conference, and we're like, okay, we're gonna get there at 3. We'll go to the speakers lounge at 3. That way, if he comes early, we're there. We want to be the first people to speak to him.
Yep.
So then. It's like 2:59. Dana's like, "Hey, we gotta go."
So we sneak back in.
So we walk. We're walking down the half football field to get to the speakers lounge, and we're like, Dana and I are like, "Hey, Mason, shoot us. Like, keep recording us. Like we're the speakers, thought leaders, celebrities here." And then he does that, and there's 2 security guards by the door, and we walk right past them again. Because like, I don't know if they saw us the first time, and then like we were hanging out with Gary Vee's team, and they just thought like we were speaking part of Gary's team.
Really throwing the security under the bus here, right?
Yeah.
So sorry about this, guys.
So we walk right past them, get in, and then we sit down at the end of the table that was closest to where Gary would be walking in.
There's like a hidden staircase at the back of the room. We're like, okay,
so we found out
he's not going to come through the main conference room to get there, so we know he's going to come from this staircase. So let's position ourselves so we're the first people to talk to him.
Yep. So we're sitting there, we're just like drinking water, trying to get ready, make sure everything's set up. Mason's setting up all the cameras. Dana's checking the audio inputs, making sure the audio's good. I'm getting mic'd up, and then like, okay, like 305, 310, nothing, 315, and then like 320. 3 security cops walk in.
No, not just security guards, like actual police officers.
3 police officers walk in. I'm like, yo, Mason.
It's
on. It's on, Mason. Are we good?
Yeah.
Because like, it's going down. Like, you know it. Like, why would 3 cops out of nowhere roll up from the stairs?
Yeah.
And then like we're all anxious.
Yeah.
And then you see Gary roll up, and we're like, oh fuck, here we go.
Here we go.
I don't think I've been that nervous. I was pretty nervous, but you're like, you can't be nervous. You just gotta crush it. So he comes in, and like, I was like 7 feet away, and I'm like, okay, I gotta be the first to talk to him. I start walking, and then a kid and a dad goes up to him, and they start talking. I'm like, actually, this is cool. First person to talk to Gary, break the ice, kid's a fan, get him warmed up.
And then, just straight hard question.
I get right behind him, like the
out
kid's
the
right here. Like I'm like,
no, you weren't.
I was pretty close.
No, you're out of the shot. You're out of the shot. He was close, but he was out of the shot.
I was out of the shot, but like I was like, I wouldn't let anyone like get right in front of us.
Yeah.
Oh, we're second in line.
We were second in line. Like we were blocking it. And so he finishes with the kid, was giving him advice, And then we go right into it. Gary, what's going on? Brandon, compliment him. Hey, huge fan. You've changed our lives. We built a multi-million-dollar software company because of everything that you taught us. And, we're now on pace, hopefully, to do 100 million valuation and, all the sales and the tens of thousands of companies that we're helping and supporting grow. A lot of that is because of everything that we're doing with the content and the value and the PR. And he loved that, and he's like, oh, that's amazing, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Asked about what we do. Told him about Seamless.ai, the world's best sales leads. Told him that he's one list away from the life that he wants, the marriage he wants, the cars that he wants. He loved it. He loved it. I was like, we deliver those lists. He's like, that's awesome, man. He's like, that's the biggest problem with B2B sales. They don't have the list, so they're spamming everyone. And then we go right into it. So Gary, like, question, like, so we wrote this book, Sales Secrets from the Top 1%. Want to interview you for it. So I've got one question for you. And he's like, all right, brother, shoot. I'm like, we're like, what is your top sales secret? And then he went into this whole session, which we'll talk about. To get the sales secrets that he uncovered, you got to listen to the podcast and tune in.
I think which is the episode before this one comes out. So
yeah,
if you're watching this episode first, go back one episode and make sure you hear his full secret.
Yeah, so the episode should be coming out, Sales Secrets from the Top 1%. If you want the full interview, he shares never before seen, never disclosed B2B sales secrets on how he went from 0 to 100 million plus business using these B2B sales tactics. And we revealed in the book, we revealed in the podcast, and in the YouTube, which should be disclosed here soon. But so we go into it for 5 to 10 minutes. And like, our interviews are like an hour long. And like, the content was amazing. But they know me, like, I'm never satisfied. I'm like, fuck, like 10 minutes, like that wasn't enough. Like, I got like 70 more questions. And I was like, I gotta ask all these questions. The audience wanted me to ask all these questions. So after he gives like these amazing responses for the book, you can see there's like 7 people behind us that are dying to talk to him. And we didn't want to like
monopolize the time.
Monopolize the conversation. Even though he was so highly engaged, it's like, okay, we want to be respectful, talk to these other people. So then we let, hey, awesome, Gary, great advice. Thank you so much. Thrilled to get you featured in the book. He's like, can't wait, man. Shoot me all the content once you have it. Shoot me the links and we'll promote it, whatever. And then we leave the conversation. And then, we met. We're like, damn, we did it. And they're like, all right, like, how happy are you? And I'm like, I feel like we didn't. I was like, it was good, but like, I need more.
And you know what? And then like, I look away for half a second, and then I see Brandon's back in line.
I was like, damn, that was good, but like, it wasn't enough. Like, I
mean, you're there and then you may as well, mind you.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, I may never have another half hour with Gary Vee ever again in my life. And 10 minutes out of 30 minutes is not enough.
And all the effort that you've gone through to get there, man, you may as well.
So there's a bunch of people in line. I get back behind them, and Mason and Dan are like, holy shit, you're getting back in line.
Yeah, I'm like fucking kidding. I'm cracking my my laughing.
You two are ready to go home, man. I'm sweating like, God, that was enough.
And then I'm like trying to think like, okay, what do I want to ask? How do I want to do this? How am I going to position it that I'm back in line? I'm trying to ask you more questions. And so then like, the line's done. I'm next. I'm like, hey, Gary. Hey, man, Brandon again. Like, hey, Gary, man, awesome time, like, interviewing for the book. Just had a few more quick questions.
You just wanted more clarification on how people can actually take the secret and turn it into action.
Yeah, I was like, just needed more actionable advice here. Had a few more questions. He's like, yeah, shoot, man. And then, like, we went into it. And I asked a question about, he gives so much value without asking for much in return. And what advice does he have for B2B salespeople to do the same? And that went into like a 10-minute advice, sales secrets tangent. So like, I don't know if it was like Gary, the first time we talked to him, like he would just get warmed up, or this type of question just opened him up like wildfire. And he just went off, and like, I'm just like, oh my God, this is so, like, such amazing advice. So excited, we're getting it all. He's going off on like being spammy in B2B sales and value, and so many salespeople ask with the intention to get, and then he tells you all the playbooks on how to ask without the intention to get, and how much revenue and sales that's going to generate. And we got it all.
Yeah.
And then David Meltzer, who I was legitimately talking to before the conference, we had to interview him for the book. He comes up to me while I'm interviewing Gary, and he's like, Brandon, good to see you. Gary, good to see you. So like, then Gary thinks like we're big deals because David's a big deal. So David is a VaynerMedia speaker.
Okay.
So David signed with VaynerMedia Speakers. Gary sees David talking to us, and then he takes even more time with us because he sees David come up to us. He knows my name. He knows who we are. He's like, hey, yeah, I got to interview Gary, and then we'll do the interview for your book. So then it like looks like this was a big thing.
It's like all the stars are aligned.
Dude, all the stars were like, David randomly walks in. David just got off of the stage. He knew that we've been trying to interview him, and he's like, hey, we'll do the interview at the conference. Saw us interviewing Gary, said what's up to Gary, said what's up to us, said he was excited to interview for the book. So then Gary drops more fire for the book and the sales secrets that we're going to feature. And then he's like, okay, I got to interview David. And I'm like, okay, sweet. So we get all of his advice, thank him for everything. And then he sits down to interview David. And there's like 30 people.
Yeah, so they're like sat down like...
They're like this.
There's like me and Dana looking at each other. This is the interview. This is how they're sat. The whole other side of the room is filled with people.
Yeah.
And then Brandon...
I just see, hold on, there's like every 30 people, they all have like cameras. They're shooting the whole thing. I'm like, okay, shit, like Gary's team, this shit's gonna be all over social media. I gotta get into the shot.
By the way, the window's right behind. Best
lighting.
Better lighting from the other side.
I couldn't believe it.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get the camera. I'm gonna get some exclusive content for our audience, and I'm gonna be right in front of Gary and David.
Yeah, so this is like slide back. This is the interview. You stand up too.
So
this is Brandon with the camera right here.
Yeah, so
we're interviewing.
this is Gary.
This
is
all
David.
with the cameras
Oh,
over.
And I'm like right here like this, like like there's no one on this side. And I'm just like I'm doing this. I'm not a video guy. I don't know what I'm doing.
No one said nothing at all.
No one said nothing at all. So these guys were dying because they were over there.
I'm just like, I'm shaking my head, because this is a video guy.
So then I like try to pretend also I was like kind of like there to be interviewed by Gary and David. So like there was no chair or anything. I'm standing. So I like, okay, like I'll put the tripod over here and like I'll just get in the shot. Like yeah, great advice, Gary. Like, oh, that awesome line, awesome line, David. Like they're talking to each other, and I just see Gary's team shooting it all. I'm like, fuck, I gotta get on his feed. And so we were taking all this exclusive content.
I'm surprised you didn't have a Seamless man in the background, right?
Yeah, for real.
We should have. So Dana and Mason were dying. I see them. They're all dying.
I'm like shaking my head at it.
They're like,
I'm like,
you're in the shot.
I'm
Dude,
like,
you're in the shot. You're ruining the shot. And I'm like, no, this is a perfect shot. I got the perfect shot. So then, like, what was cool though, I think Gary and David were like, they loved that we were shooting it. Because no one got that angle, or they hated it. Mason would.
I don't know.
Mason's like, they were probably pissed you were shooting it. No. So we got all this exclusive content, great shots.
Yeah.
And then Gary's like, hey, I got to go on stage.
Yep.
So he says bye to David. He says bye to me, and then he goes on stage. So then again, like, it just, it looks like we were doing this forever. And then I'm like, hey, David. David's like, hey, you want to do the interview right now? So then I sat down where Gary was sitting, and then we interviewed David Meltzer, who's the CEO of Sports One Marketing. They represent all these sports athletes.
Right, okay.
And they're basically their agent for everything they do in marketing, in sales, anything that their name is attached to, they run. Like the world's best athletes, they rep them all. So sat down with David. We've been dying to interview him. He's got millions of followers, and he's producing content almost as much as Gary Vee.
With that same value-driven
approach. With the same value-driven approach. And like, we're producing 10 assets a day or 15 assets a day. David's producing 50 a day. Gary Vee's producing 100 a day.
And Gary says that's not even enough.
Yeah, Gary's like 100 is not
like
enough.
superhuman numbers. Wow.
Yeah. So we were really excited to interview David just to get his sales secrets, also to learn like how he's cranking out all the content. David's video team's there. So we had a badass. You said it was like one of the best.
Yeah,
Gary's interviews was one of the best in the book, and you're like, David's interview was fire.
I like David's interview. He's, they both had a very small amount of time, but David drops a lot of motivational and like psychological advice that we've yet to hear on Sales Secrets. So it was a good fresh take, along with, of course, the awesome business sales traditional secrets.
Yeah, because David's built just like Gary, like, tens of millions of dollars businesses, $100 million business, and they've all just got so much experience doing that. Mm-hmm. So to be able to get both of them in the book
and in the same room
at the same room
and
at the same time,
and then like later on, same thing happened with Demon John from Shark Tank. Should we tell him?
No.
Yeah,
no,
give us a little. Go on, give me a little preview.
No, we don't. We should not.
We should not.
No, this isn't going to be in the episode. This is 100% being cut. 100%.
Okay, we'll tell it anyways.
Okay.
No.